I was working at a summer camp called Hume Lake Christian Camps, and actually I was working for Derek Gear, who now ironically is on staff here at North Coast Church, and longtime friend of mine and mentor figure. And I remember spending time in his house, and he went into the back of his house, and I thought to myself, man, it'd be kind of nice if I unloaded his dishes for him, being the good person that I am. And I start unloading the dishwasher, and I will never forget this moment that as I'm unloading the cups, I grabbed the last cup in the top rack, and as I heard his footsteps coming, back into the main room from wherever he was, I waited. I intentionally held that cup in my hand, and I waited to place it back in the cabinet above me because I wanted him to see me serving him. When I think about the joy that comes from service, maybe the least service-oriented my heart has ever been is when I'm serving so that I can be seen by other people. And, as I put the cup in, he's like, oh, thanks, man, you didn't have to do that. I'm like, oh, it's no big deal. It's, my pleasure to do it. And I just remember that moment just kind of rolling my eyes on the inside going, you fool. Like, this is not service from a place of joy in the Lord. This is service so that you can be seen. It's service for the attaboy. It's service for the pat on the back. And I love Jesus' words in Matthew chapter 5 in the Beatitudes, right? Maybe a familiar passage, but it says in chapter 5, verse 8, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Very simply, if you're pure in heart, that's where you'll see God at work. And there's a Peter Cesaro quote, one of my favorite theologians. He says, we cannot give what we do not possess. Doing for God in a way that is proportionate to our being with God is the only pathway to a pure heart and seeing God. See, if we're not doing life with God, we have no business doing anything for God. And now you might ask the question, well, what does unloading the dishwasher for a mentor figure have anything to do with doing things for God? And I think for me, I've held on to that lesson of how often I want to serve in the church, or how often I want to do a service project with a group, maybe my youth group in 910 or part of something with my life group. And it's really hard for me to serve with a pure heart without trying to get the attaboys and the pat on the backs. It's really hard to do that if I'm not doing consistent life with God. I think to Jesus washing the disciples' feet, saying, a new commandment I give you, love one another just as I have loved you. It requires that walking with him and seeing how Jesus walked and how he served if I hope to have a pure heart. And I really believe the only pathway to serving with joy and a service that delivers this joy in ourselves is if we do it with a pure heart, because then we can see God and we can walk with him and live the life the way that he designed it, serving the people around us, not making it about ourselves, which is such a gift. There's so much freedom in walking through life, not making it about me. But even in my service, I make it about me so often if I'm not doing life with him. Friends, would we do life with God so that when we do things for him, we can do it with a pure heart? Because only if we do it with a pure heart, then we'll see God and unlock the gift of joy. Thanks. We'll see you tomorrow.